Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope everyone's having an amazing day. Welcome. Let's see, we'll give everyone a minute so we can go ahead and get started. Welcome to Glass Entrances and Partitions. We'll be going through a journey. Just want to show off, and I say show off with a lot of content. What a great program we have for you, and hopefully you see the value to your business in using this program. So we will get started in a minute. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. I see we have some stragglers coming in. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Not a full minute, but we will get started to be respectful to your time. So again, welcome to Glass Entrances and Partitions webinar. We will give you training as far as some key features and take you through your journey of creating a project in Glass Entrances and Partitions. So Glass and Partitions is the web version to our storefronts online. CRL offers a total of 3 programs to allow you to not only design your projects, but also quote them directly with us and also place your orders with us directly through the tool or through the website, but the tool is also available where you can go ahead and use this platform to enter your orders with us. So again, a welcome. I'm going to give some brief introductions. So my name is Yancy Salinas. I'm the online programs manager. You can say I'm kind of like the middle person between the customer, CRL, and also our dev team to highlight what needs to happen within the programs. If there's a challenge, if there's new systems we need to add. Again, very excited to demonstrate this browser version of Storefronts Online. And mind you, the Glass Entrances and Partitions currently only has CRL hardware. Our storefronts, Citrix, which is just a third-party application, has CRL systems and US aluminum. Right now, we're in the process to work with US aluminum and also converting them into a web version. But for now, Glass Entrances only has CRL systems, such as our door rail systems, our Boomcraft 1301s, we have our 487s, and newly to the program is Fallbrook. So Fallbrook is one of our most popular systems for our office partitions. So very excited to share this all with you guys. So Julio, would you like to introduce yourself to the team?
Absolutely, yes. So thanks for that, Yancy. Yes, I'm the technical manager for architectural hardware and transactional hardware, but I focus primarily on architectural hardware. So I'm really excited that we have Glass Entrances and Partitions now online as opposed to Citrix. I know before, for those who have used Citrix, it wasn't maybe the most friendly in terms of starting up. I know sometimes it crashed every once in a while. It took a few tries. So this just made things so much easier, and it made things so much more mobile, going out to job sites, showing people, what it looks like even on my phone, on an iPad, or whatever the case might be. It's just so much more seamless and easier to use and at least in my opinion, it is. So I'm really excited to go ahead and get this kick started too.
Perfect. Just some additional information when it comes to glass entrances, like Julio mentioned, it is mobile. And one of the biggest concerns that we received, or a lot of the comments that we received from our customers is that our Citrix, our third-party application, is not so compatible with Apple devices. And I know there's a lot of us out there that use Apple. Just like there's a lot of us also that use Android, but it is 100% compatible with our Apple devices. You can You can use it and you will not experience the same issues that you would experience with the Citrix version. Another perk, and I know you're going to like the perk, is for Citrix version. I know for new customers there is a license fee that is charged. That obviously because it is a web version is no longer charged. So a lot of benefits to this web version, but I don't want to sit here and just tell you how good it is. We're going to demonstrate. But before we demonstrate some ground rules, within the process, I've opened up the chat and then I also have opened up the Q&A. Please feel free to submit your questions if you feel more comfortable submitting your questions through the chat. Please do so. Or if you want to use the QA, I will be monitoring both. Julio will periodically check in with me so that we can see what questions are there and what questions we are going to go ahead and answer live. If there's questions that I can answer just by typing, sending you a message, respond to your message, then I will do that as well. But if it's any design questions, Julio will be checking in with me so that we can answer those questions for you. So without further ado, Julio, please take it away.
Sure. Happy to. First of all, welcome everybody. I'm really excited to go ahead and get this kick started. So first of all, welcome everybody and thank you for showing up to this. Really appreciate you guys taking your time to go ahead and be here with us and being able to do this. So without further ado, let's just get this kick started, right? Most of you guys who are here might be familiar with our website and might use this on a daily basis as well. So let me just walk you through what it looks like getting to our online tools. So the first thing you want to do, and that's all going to be pretty well located for you guys, right? It's going to be at the top of our list at resources. So when you go to resources, just hover over it and you'll see a couple things, right? Technical references, contacts. But here for us specifically, we're going to go ahead and go to Glass Entrances and Partitions Online. So you can just go ahead and hover over resources, click on this, and it'll take you to a landing page that has all of our Glass Entrance Partitions online. And that includes requesting a free trial, signing up for like this webinar, for example. But for us, we're going to go ahead and just scroll down and go to login to web. I already have my username and password already autofilled, so I'm just going to go ahead and log into that. Okay, and now here's where the fun starts, right? We're going to go ahead and see what you see right here in front of your screen is a project list. Since I'm an internal user, I have access to tons of our internal users who are quoting out projects for customers or doing stuff on their own. But you will specifically see your project list that maybe you or your team is going currently quoting out or working on as well, or have even ordered. So that's where you'll see like all of this information kind of spread out, right? And we'll just go ahead and start from left to right to kind of showcase what that looks like. Every quote is going to be assigned an ID. So that's just going to be a general population of what that looks like. That's more of our internal, like when you go to an Amazon, for example, you get an order number. That's sort of what that looks like for us. But for you guys, what's going to be important is that project name. So this is stuff that you're going to be quoting out, whatever your project name might be. Project name, you're going to be quoting that out, who your customer is, what the location of that is, whether it's in New York, Manhattan, or Miami, South Dakota, whatever the case might be. You go ahead and specify what the location is, and you'll get a description of what that project looks like as well. So just to give you an idea, maybe a little bit refresher without having to go ahead and click into the project, whether you're doing one panel, two panels, or 50 elevations, you can also see you have like 54 panels. How many quantities of that is going to be? Well, you can replicate how many quantities you can do. If you're doing 10 of the same floors, that's where you can go ahead and replicate those in terms of quantity, the date it was entered, the current status. You can go ahead and always change that. So the current status of the job, whether it's waiting, it's ordered, the total price, along with your quote number and or sales order number, reflecting on that, whatever stage your project might be in. So, and you can go ahead and always change that. Right now, we're currently focusing on entrance partition. But if you go ahead and do other sorts of projects, you can see that you can go ahead and specify entrance partitions, showers, or if you want to see all your projects, you can go ahead and see all of them as well at the same time. Okay? Just to give you an idea of what that looks like as well. So let's just go ahead and get this rolling. So for us, we're going to go ahead and hover over to new project. We'll go ahead and list our project name. For the sake of what we're doing today, I want to go ahead and name this webinar. You can name it whatever you want, right? Whatever your project name might be, whether that's office building for Raquel or whatever the case might be, whoever it is you're working for. But we're going to go ahead and do webinar, and you can go ahead and also put dates on it. So you can hyphens, all of that is very well included also. So I'm going to go ahead and put 06-24-25 since that's today's date. Customer name, I want to go ahead and do this for my customer who is Joe's Glass, right? So you can go ahead and quote it out, whoever your customer might be. Location, I'm gonna go ahead and put the location as 1234, or actually in this case, I'm just gonna go ahead and put the general location. I'm in California, but let's pretend we have a project out of New York. We'll go ahead and quote it out for them. Project code, if there's a specific project code, here's where you can specify that. I don't have one, so I'll go ahead and leave that blank. Current status of the project, whatever the status might be at the moment, you can, like I said earlier, you can always change that. But for our case right now, since we are just bidding in the bidding stage, we'll go ahead and leave that as waiting. Site address, we're gonna put just a, random right now. It'll be random, but if you have a specific site address, I would go ahead and put that here and utilize this to your advantage. So 1234 Manhattan, and like I said earlier, my customer's name is Joe's Glass, so my contact is going to be Joe. And you can go ahead and put the site phone number here also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Obviously, I don't have a phone number, right? But this is just for you guys to go ahead and do this. Okay. Now that we have all this information already populated, let's go ahead and get the fun started and get this everything sort of designed also. Awesome. And here's where you can go ahead and pick out, like Yancey said, we have a number of different systems that you can quote out. So you can go ahead and do all glass, which would be like our door rails, Herculite doors, and this is our 1301s even. This is where you would go ahead and see all of these all glass, right? Where you would see your Herculite doors. Or if you want have some other specific project like a 487, this is your typical Western integrated style system to use in office partitions. And also our latest addition to our entrance and partitions is our Fallbrook system. This is very similar to what you would see with like your Western integrated, but it's a lot more European. So the idea is like a modular, I'm sorry, a demountable wall system as well. This fits into that Division 10 sort of section as well. But like I said, that's for another time, and we'd be happy to showcase that to you. Just feel free to email Yancy, and she'll be happy to set this up so we can go ahead and maybe do a one-on-one, or we can showcase your team on how we can walk you through on doing Fallbrook. All right. So for us, we'll do our most common for us, which is going to be all glass. I know a lot of our jobs that we see it out, at least for us that we get quoted out, is all most of the time it's Herculite doors. So we're going to do all glass. I'll leave this as a flat layout. We don't need no pop in, pop out, but the option is there for you in case you might need it. Your door option, this is going to be your swing of your door. So whether you have no doors, you have a left swinging door, right swinging door, or a pair of doors, a double door, right? Mind you, this is looking from outside in when we say exterior, right? And sometimes that gets a little bit confusing when you say exterior if your job is inside a building, right? Just imagine this is from the locking side, or that you're looking into an office space. This is going to be from the keyed side. So we'll go ahead and change this to a right swinging door. You can go ahead and see that on there, and you can specify if you need a transom or no transom. So in our case, we're going to make this for a pretty basic office space. No transom, right swinging door, and we'll do this with 2 side light panels on the side as well. And you can always customize this also if you need to change anything else out. So you can change if you need to add different panels. So you can always drag and drop. If you need to add different side light panels, you can go ahead and do that. If you need to change the return also, here's where you do that. You just click on in between these 2 joints right here between these glass panels, and now you can change it to a 90-degree. So we can go ahead and do that to both. And you'll see that reflected as soon as you go ahead and hover over to the design portion of this. So now that we have a 90-degree return, you'll see what that sort of looks like right now too. So see, we go ahead and click on a 90-degree return, and I can go ahead and shake around this, move this around, and it looks pretty good to me. Now you have to specify the dimensions, right? And the system does a really good job also of making sure to let you know if you have any warning notes. So you'll usually see a warning note here, and at the top of your screen also, you'll see one of the dimensions doesn't have a value. Well, it's not just one of them, it's actually a whole. We haven't specified anything in terms of letting the system know, what our width or height is going to be. So let's just go ahead and make sure to put this right. With our two side lights and our door, our total opening is going to be 108, for example. That's going to be a 108. This is going to be a 48 inch. Let's go ahead and do this 4 feet. And the height, I want it to be also 9 feet. And we'll do the exact same thing for this side. So just make sure to hover over all of them, making sure you're doing this correctly. And now we gave it dimensions, you saw that everything sort of expanded, right? It grew both ways, right? Height and width. So now everything sort of grew in size and it looks a little more proportional to what we specified this out to be. And another thing to point out, these doors are always going to come standard at 36 inches. So the system automatically kicks out for these two adjacent panels to be even sizes. So if you have specific sizing for this, if one's supposed to be smaller than the other, you're going to go ahead and want to make sure you specify that also. So now that we already quoted out, or now that we already gave it some life to it, we gave it height and width. Let's go ahead and just jump right into what we're going to be doing. So for us, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to go ahead and do Herculi doors. But this is where you can hover over if you have some other specific system, right? And for those who have used Storefront Online, you might have seen this in the past, right? Our 1301 doors are here, along with our 290, 295 sliders and our Laguna sliders also. So this just kicks out all those glass sizes for you and makes it easier along the ordering process. But for our case, we're going to do our most common system, our most used system, right, which is going to be our DR rail system, and this is where you would see patch fittings and door rails as well. Uh, Color, this is where you would change out your finish if you have a specific finish, matte black. I know it's really popular right now. Clear anodized, dark bronze, ORB. That's a custom one. Polished stainless. This is where you would go ahead and do that. But for us, like I said, I want to make this something that you will be using a little more often than not. Let's go ahead and do brushed stainless. Your usage, this just goes in place in case you need something. It just wants to make sure you're doing this correctly. But for us, we're gonna do this for an office space. The usage is gonna be for interior, and I want to order stock lanes just because for us, right, we want to make sure we pay a little bit less in terms of cost to the end user or to you guys, the customer. So we're gonna go and do stock lanes, so we make sure we go ahead and receive all our material so it doesn't come custom as well. So now we have that set in place. Everything else is pretty much already auto filled out. There's no finished floor height specifically we need to specify. Everything is going to be beneath our panels as well. Glass supplier. If you and this is something that you would have to do internally to specify out. This doesn't kick out any specific glass size unless you tell it to. And this is for pricing, by the way, just in case you wanted to know. This kicks out all the specific pricing based on whoever it is you're buying your glass from, whether it's an OBE, Truelight, or whoever the case might be. But we don't auto-populate that for you just because I know different companies have different prices. So whatever pricing they give you, you can go ahead and make sure you put that into your system. So I'll leave it blank for now since we don't have a specific one and we don't play favorites either. So let's go ahead and leave it as none. Default glass makeup as well. This is where you would change out what kind of glass you would need. So this, like I said, this is just perfect. So you can go ahead and receive it at the end. Once you go ahead and finish the quoting process out, you'll receive all your glass sizing, the whole dimension, and you can just send this over to whoever your glass supplier is, and they'll know exactly, okay, we're going to be doing this in a, for example, in our case, 1/2 inch glass and or 3/8. Send it over to them, and they'll go ahead and make it for you to whatever you send them in this case, right? So I'm going to leave both the glass, which is going to be your first one is for your side lights, and your second one is for your door in case you need to have two different dimension or two different glass thicknesses. This is where you would go ahead and do that. Yancy, how are we doing? We're okay?
All good, no questions so far.
Per-
I've been answering any little questions along the way. Something to point out though, in the in initi when we're initiating the project, as you can see where Julio was entering the project information, there was other tabs there as well, and those are more specific between your options or quoting information, how you're going to deliver your order, and then any installation notes that are between you and your customer. So also it does have a space there under quote where you're able to see the history within that specific project. So if you've quoted it, it's going to provide you the quote number. If you've accessed, for example, the hardware list or the installation sheet, all of that history, everything you're doing for that project is going to be there should you want to refer back to it as well. Just, giving a
Let's
little bit
let's
more
see that once
information.
we're done, Yancy. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is important though. You're right. We should go back to it once we finish the design process out. We'll go ahead and look at the quoting process and what that looks like on the ordering
Yeah,
also.
for sure.
I love it. Awesome. So let's just keep it rolling, right? Now that we have our design set out and we have our already what our dimensions are, let's go ahead and click on doorways now. This is just like a book, right? Read it left to right, top to bottom. This is how I like to do it too. So this is where you would click out your specific door rail system or DR or a Herculi door as it should be called. So for us, you can go ahead and click out whatever you need to do, right? Whether that's a door rail style system, a piece style door is known also, or an A style door if you need to use patch fittings top and bottom also. So as you can see, I clicked on an A style system and this changed automatically for it. So it just showcases you in real time what that would look like. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it as door rails, just because I like using door rails. I think it looks clean. But you can go ahead and always use patch fittings if you want to see if your customer wants to see more glass also. But that's where you would go ahead and do that, and you see automatically this auto populates the brush stainless since that's what we specified at the beginning. So let's leave that as such. And you can give this a doorway name if you need. So we can call it Mark 1. And we are doing this for an office space like we mentioned earlier. So I don't want this swinging in both directions. I want this just swinging in. And you'll notice that right away, it'll also throw in a glass stop also to make this a swing in door only. So let's just go ahead and keep it rolling. Um, you can always change your closure as well. If you have an overhead concealed closure at the head or a floor closure at the bottom, you can go ahead and change that, and that just changes the hardware makeup as a whole. So that also goes into place with like the arm, pivots, and everything else included also. So this auto populates all of that for you. I want to use a overhead concealed closure myself, so we'll use something at the head. I don't want to drill into the concrete. I don't have enough room at the floor to do that. And I'm just trying to make this as real life as as possible as we can. So let's just use an overhead concealed closure for us, and we'll keep it rolling as such. Locks. If you have a specific lock location that you need to do, typically people don't want to do it at the head, but the question has come up, so we go ahead. So we do give you the option to. If you need to have like a lock, like a latch at your lock, you can do that also. But I usually like locking it at the bottom. It makes it a little bit easier at the end of the day. Just put a lock down at the bottom and you walk away. So we'll put a lock at the base and you'll see what that looks like also. Above your door. We're doing a single door also, so there's no need to change that. We're going to be mounting it to a header. Door stop. This is where you would go ahead and do that. If you want this to be single acting, you would go ahead and click on that door stop at the head. And that automatically comes in brush stainless. Header, if you have a specific header, like a narrow header or a 4.5 inch header, this is where you would go ahead and change that. And I'll just, for the sake of conversation, I'll just do a 4.5 inch header. And that also will come brush stainless automatically as well. Closure. Now we'll have all different types of closures. So if you have a specific opening, no hold open, whatever the case might be, we automatically specify our Jackson 90-degree hold open. But you can always use, if it's spec'd out to use like a Dorma RTS88, you can just scroll down and you will see all of those options here as well, including extended spindles, hold open, non-hold open, 90-degree, 105, whatever the case might be. I personally like the, the 90-degree Jackson adjustable hold open, just because I can change that latching and closing speed on there. And it also meets ADA also, just for the sake of conversation too. So, and since we mentioned ADA, this goes into that door top also. So this is just talking about our door rail, right? Door top, door rail in our case. Since we mentioned ADA, I'm going to go ahead and do a tapered door rail. And automatically everything pretty much kicks out, including the arm. This is that end load arm that you need for these door rails, and it automatically populates it for you. There's no thinking really that goes into place. It makes it so much easier. So it already shoots out all the information you need for your job. Your door base, so it's just your door rail, right? What's at the floor. I'm going to go ahead and match what we have for our head at the head, which is our tapered door rail. And I want to do a 4-inch tapered door rail. In this case, with a lock, we talked about having a lock at the bottom. I want to go ahead and do that as well. But if you want to go ahead and change that, here's where you have all that information to do so, including a 10-inch rail, our DRX rails as well. If you've used those, you know how incredibly easy they are to use. So I think it's important to see that also. Or if you want to use like a 2 and 5/16 inch rail, here's where you would see all that information also. But I want to go ahead and do a tapered rail with a lock. And everything else also populates for you as well, including our insert our arm, I'm sorry, our closer arm, our arm as well for the bottom, and as well as our 777S and your cylinder. If you have a specific cylinder specification, for example, if you want to just have a cylinder on the outside and thumb turn inside, dummy cylinders on both sides, here's where you would go ahead and change all that information as well. So now that we're good, let's go ahead and change that out. Below your door, so this would be under your door rails. If you have a threshold, if you don't have a threshold, here's where you can even see that raise in that on the base of the door. So everything's sort of lifted up with it. I don't want to use a threshold for this specific case. It's an office. You don't really need a threshold. So we'll go ahead and put none for that. Your spindle automatically populates also, which is going to be the one in T402. Your keeper. So this is just your dustproof keeper for your lock. This is where it automatically populates, and if you have a different one that you like to use, you can go to always do that also. So like the AMR 207, in our case, it auto populates to the AMR 209. So if you don't like the look of the plate and you just want that circular style look, you can go ahead and change that as well. And that finish, our brushed nickel is our closest to our brushed stainless, so that's why it kicks out the brushed nickel if you see that. We'll go ahead and close that out also. Handles. This is an interesting one because this is where you'll see all of our different sorts of handle, including ACH, custom, latches, pulls and locks, the whole 9 yards. So you'll see everything on here. So in our case, I want to do pull handles, but I do want to show you for those if you have different types of jobs, what that will look like. So like our stock ACHs would be like our locking ladder pulls. If you don't want to put a lock at the bottom on your door rail, you can always utilize a locking ladder pull, for example. And this would be like our LLP 848s, our LLP 72s, whatever, however big you want your locking ladder pull to be. This would all be included as well, including our designer series locking ladder pulls are included in there as well. But if you need to use like a custom access control handle, so for example, like a panic handle, right? Panic handles are pretty popular these days, and they're specified quite a bit. So this is where you would see like your PA 100 utilized in there. In this case, you see like also our deadbolt handles that are utilized. And the reason you don't see a PA 100 in here is because if the code does strictly state if you have a lock at the bottom, you won't be able to utilize a PA 100 or panic handle. So the code is pretty strict on that. So you have to change that out in order to see that. And I would like to show you what that looks like. So let's go ahead and change out a lock at the bottom. So let's just look at that. We'll go ahead and swing out since panic handles do need to swing out. Let's change out the lock as well, or go ahead and see that. Mm, Oh, it's because we have the handle on there.
Handle.
Duh.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go ahead and go back to pull, lock, none. Now we're able to change it out to handle. Custom ACH. And now you see that we're able to do a PA 100. So like I said, the code is pretty strict, which is why you're not able to do that. And it won't even let you do it if you try to. So You have the lock. If you have a lock at the bottom, you won't be able to even try and do a PA100. It's just more for the safety of your customers, right? You don't want if the cleaning crew comes at night and the door is locked from the outside, they won't be able to escape by pressing on the panic handle, and God forbid there would be an emergency, for example. So this is where you would see all of that sort of filled out also. So you see your panic and all your other sort of handles, also including dummy handles, electronic egress. You would see all of that on here. And if you have, and you can see both, we have both the PA100 and or the PA110 that shoots down onto the bottom as well. So I did just want to showcase that to you because the question does come up quite a bit. But for us, let's just go ahead and do a regular ladder style pull handle. I want to go ahead and do our most popular, so that's just going to be something like our 48-inch ladder style pull. But I do want to showcase that to you that we do have all types of pull handles, including back-to-back pulls, the tubular ones, the designer style, the D style pull handles also. So all that information is pretty much readily available for you to go ahead and choose as well. And automatically it's going to kick out that brushed stainless finish as well. Awesome. Now that we have that, your door surround. This would be if you have like a weather style kit that's needed. Mind you, weather style kits do not meet ADA also. So uh, just keep that in mind. But if you need to do that, you can always go ahead and do so. If you need sort of surrounds on your jams or vertical seals, that's where I was talking about like the weather style kits. Here is where you would go ahead and do that. But for us, we're gonna go ahead and do none. We want to see as much glass as possible. All right, awesome.
Julio, before you continue, because
Yancy,
you're still on the screen,
yes.
Santiago asked a question. If you can, before you go into the
Mhm.
next tab, how do you configure the height of the pole?
Absolutely. So this is the height would be specified right here. So this is where you would go ahead and change, like I mentioned earlier, a 48-inch style pole. You're going to change this out to like a 60-inch ladder style pole. So this is where you would change out that height of the pole handle.
Santiago is just please type in the chat. Is that what you were referring to, or when you're talking about the height, the positioning of the height of the pole within the door? Is that what the question? No, the location within the door. Yeah, I kind of. He said the location within the door.
If you want to change out the location of the pole handle,
Yeah, so if he wants to put the pull handle higher or lower, I think it's more the question.
so if you want to change it out, you can put it here. The vertical positioning of that would be top of leaf, centered on leaf, or base of leaf also.
Okay, thank you so much, Julio. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that answers the question.
Perfect. Yeah. So I want to go ahead and make this as center as possible. So we'll leave that center, right? But you can like that's a great question because it doesn't come up too often. Most people will do it at the center, but if you want to put it a little bit higher, a little bit lower, that's where you can go ahead and do so. Awesome. Now that we're done with our door, we have our dimensions. Everything looks pretty good so far. Let's go ahead and focus on our side lights also. So side lights, we want to go ahead and match as much as possible, right? Or make it as seamless. So if you want to go ahead and see more glass, you can go ahead and change it to a header. So all the glass will be mounted onto the header, or you can just do it on U channels also. So up to you on how you want to do this. You can do this recess or surface mounted. But in our case, I want to go ahead and do this since we're utilizing a header at the head. I want to go ahead and do a header with the rails so it matches perfectly with my door also. Now you have that clean sightline look on there. You can change this to be surface mounted or recess mounted, like I said. So above the header, above the sidelight rails is going to be that 4.5-inch header to match the profile look, along with that tapered sidelight rail to match the look of that door also. And everything is going to come stock as brushed stainless as well. Between the side lights, this would be your joints. Um, if you want to go ahead and butt glaze everything, this is you would might want to make sure to specify this as no seal. But if you are using this for like a mall setting, for example, here's where you would use like one or two mall clamps. So this is we go ahead and do that just so we can showcase that to you guys. If you need one or two, that's where you would go ahead and do that. And if you, just depending on the sort of mall clamp that you're using, you can do those drilled and or non-drilled. But like I said, I don't want any side. I don't want to see any of that stuff. I don't want to see aluminum. I don't want to see any hardware. I want to see as much glass as possible. So let's go ahead and butt glaze those joints. Silicone. So we'll go ahead and do so with silicone. I already mentioned earlier. Below the side lights, if you have a specific location, I want to match the profile look. So I want to go ahead and use side light rails to match the look, right? Everything is going to match pretty seamlessly. But if you want to see more glass, like I said earlier, just utilize a U channel and you can go ahead and do so. And those can be surface mounted and or recess mounted. You see how it drops down also. Perfect. Now that all of that looks good and it automatically populates to that 4-inch tapered side light rail in brush stainless as also. Um, you can always specify that to be also flipped, and this takes into account that your glass size is also. This is if you're using like a threshold at the door, right? You just all you have to do is just flip that saddle on the side light rail. Here's where you would do so. But we're not using a threshold, so let's just leave that in. Panels. If you have a specific panel location, here's where you would do so. But we don't, for example, we talked about earlier by getting all your stuff over from a glass supplier. Here's where you would do that. And you would go ahead and click on those. If you need to put like a bug, here's where you would also do so. TFA, tempered and or unspecified. Measurements. Here's something I do want to point out, and I think this is really important because the question does come up quite a bit. If I need to have any additional clearances or gaps, here's where you do so, and this specifies that per panel specifically. So we're looking specifically at this return panel right here, and it's looking at the left edge. If you need to give it a little more love, here's where you can do so. If you need to give it a 1/4 inch gap, it's kind of a bit, I know, but here's where you would go ahead and change that out. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to normal, but like I said, here's where you can go ahead and always change any of that stuff out, and that includes the bottom edge clearance, the right edge, the top edge. Um, this is where you would go and do that, but you would have to do it per panel as well. So you go ahead and click on each one, and that's where you would see all of your information to do so. Awesome. So now that you have that available, your cutouts as well. If you need to add any cutouts, here's where you do so. But it looks pretty good to me. I don't think we need to make any. So we're going to go ahead and look at our materials list. This is usually where I sort of double check all my work just to make sure everything is good and I'm not missing anything. So you would see all of your information, including setting blocks, arms, your Jackson holders, your clips, your pivots, your spindles, your doors, your door rails, your ladder pulls, and everything that we sort of looked at along the way also. Um, so everything looks pretty okay to me. And one thing I do want to talk about is that you can always add hardware to this, and not. So you can see right here. This is where you would do so. You can also add materials. So for us, we're gonna go ahead and add a catalog number, or I'm sorry, a hardware number.
Mhm.
For those that are familiar with our silicone, and I hope most of you are, we talked about earlier that we're going to go ahead and butt glaze our joints. So let's go ahead and utilize a 33SC, and I want 8 tubes of silicone or 6 tubes of silicone. And you see right there, just in case you want to double check, it also gives you that image of the 33SC as well. So right now, your price rate is going to be automatically set in place. But for us, we don't have a price right now. I'm not a customer, right? I don't really buy these. I don't buy these on a daily basis, but you will have your price set in place. So let's go ahead and save that. And we should be good. And you'll see that it automatically added those 33SC to 2.5 inch glass, quantities of 6 as well. And everything looks pretty good to me. I don't think we're missing anything. Yancy, how are we doing? We're doing okay?
We're doing okay. I think Tunde had a question. He said you can also use custom positioning of the handle using the cutouts tab. Well, I don't think that's a question, it's more of a comment for Santiago. But no, other than that, there has been some additional questions on subscription fees and if they can subscribe to like showers and then subscribe to Glass Entrances to the web version, having the multiple discount or a discount for having multiple programs. Yes, that can be done. On the chat, I did share my email address for to Julio's point. I mean, those one-on-one trainings, or if you have any questions or concerns. I know there's some things that maybe we won't have time to cover here. So I had my email for that should you have any questions after this. And then I also added the email to our group and entrances for if you want to sign up for the free subscription or if you want to subscribe already. And also questions in reference to the subscription or switch within the subscription, I added that email on there. So besides that, let's see. Oh, actually, one question just came up. It says, how do I add another elevation to this project that we loaded? We are having trouble figuring that out. Oh, that was an easy one. Um,
I like that. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and call this entire group elevation one, right? So
mhm.
all you have to do is just append you have to just append it, and you can go ahead and append as a new group. And here's where you can go ahead and add a new elevation to your project. So here's where you can do that, and you can just append. And now you
You
have,
can also use the pen group on top, the blue button on there. If you were planning on doing the entire group, another elevation, you can do that button as well, not only the append panel.
so let's go ahead and see that. Then here's where you do
Yep.
that, add the group, and now you have group two, right? And we'll call this elevation two. You go ahead and do that. Everything looks pretty good. And you have a brand new opening with everything already set in place, right? And let's just give this a basic opening, 108, 108. I don't think it's saved. Oh, it's loading. There it
It's
is.
loading. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I think it looks pretty good.
Mhm.
Interior usage, stock lanes, like we said earlier, 108, 108, 108. Let me see, make sure it saves. I think since we added a
I-
group, it
Yeah.
didn't. Yep, since we added another group, right? It didn't
Mhm,
save it. So
mhm.
let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and pretend we did an extra version of this. 108. So now
Also,
it
you
gives
can
you all.
toggle back and forth. Yeah. Hmm.
That's a good point. Yeah. So now we still have our original elevation. So now we did elevation one, group one, and we have our elevation two that we just did. So now we have all of our openings pretty much set in place. And we're not going to go ahead and obviously repeat this process, but that's where you would go ahead and do so. And you can always clone your elevations also. So you can go ahead and select your group on here. So let's go ahead and select elevation one. And if you need to clone, you can always go ahead and do so. And this would be now elevation three. And save. Doorway number four has the same name as, oh, perfect. So elevation three also has the same name also. So we'll go ahead and go to layout and design, and we can go ahead and always change the doorway name, I believe. And did that be in template? Dismiss pop-up actually. Let's go to design. Yancy, do you remember where we named the doorway name? Was it in doorway?
The doorway name or the elevation name?
The doorway name. Up here it is. So we'll call this
Mhm.
Mark 2.
Two.
So
Mhm.
now that we have that saved,
Clarification.
perfect. And this is because we changed out that panel setting, right? Remember we mentioned earlier we changed it from a 1/8 gap to a 1/4 inch gap. That's where
Yep.
that
Yep.
panel is kind of coming back and biting us, right? Just reminding us that that was changed, but we changed it back to a 1/4 inch gap, so we should be okay now. Awesome. now that we have everything looking pretty good, you have all of your elevations, and it reminds you what that looks like too. So you have elevation 1, 2, 3, and or 4. Um, we can go ahead and look at everything as a whole. So this is the date it was quoted out, right? You can quote this out, and this was quoted out by, and this is going to be your internal user, right? So we can go ahead and put, I'll use my specific name. So this is Julio, by the way, in case you guys wanted to know, but I'll go ahead and do this as me. Quote address, quote phone number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll go ahead and send this to myself. This is where you would go ahead and do so. So all this information is pretty much ready for you to go. Order notes, Yancey, you mentioned this earlier, right? How do you want
Correct.
this delivered?
Hmm.
Right? This is where you would go ahead and change that ordering. If you want to deliver to the branch, this is where you would do so. If you want to deliver to your job site, you can go ahead and change it out there. And if you want this for like a will call pickup,
Actually, let me this the on under order, this is how you will deliver it to your customer, not how we will deliver it to you. Let's go ahead and quote it and also order it so they can see where they can select how we are going to ship them the order. Um, yeah. Another question just also came up, Julio. Once we're done here.
mhm,
So it also, again, that order button, it's for more specific between you and your customer, how you are going to go ahead and send over all the hardware to the customer. If you're going to send it to the site, if you're going to pick it up, or you're going to send it to a specific branch of theirs. We also have that private note. So those are notes between the users within the program itself. Something completely new is that final button, which is subscription. I'm sorry, description. Description, and you can go ahead and add, like if you wanted to add an additional note, as you can see, we have that preview down there, and that portion of the preview that's hard coded within the program, so that can be changed. However, you can include things that you want to see within the program, and there where it says quote description is where you can go ahead and add any additional noting that you want to be displayed on the quote. So Julio, can you save it? And then can you show us how to view the shop drawings?
absolutely. Yeah. So back to
That's a
Yancey's point,
question
right?
for a customer. Uh-huh.
So this is perfect, right? So this is where you would see all your quotes, your glass orders. So if you need to send this order over to wherever your glass shop is, this is where you would go ahead and see that. So you have all your information on here, and it also tells you how many of each, right? So this is like panel one. You would go ahead and see all your information on here for all your glass, all your glass sizing, your locations for those pull handles that we mentioned earlier, and all this information is pretty much set in place for you to go ahead and just send it over to whoever your glass supplier is. Oh, sorry about that. Let's go back to project list actually. That was a misclick. So yeah, like Yancy said, this is where all this would be set in place, including glass order and cutting instructions as well. Or you could just download, or you can view all of them if you want. Just go to multiple reports, right? And we also have this available as a DXF file. If you need to go ahead and send that over as a DXF, this is where you would go ahead and do so. Just export to DXF. But you can go ahead, like I said, and view that all in PDF. That's going to be the automatic default for viewing.
Mhm.
Awesome. You ready to order, Yancy?
Let's order it. I'll put in
Cool.
I'll cancel the order after.
Cool. No worries. Yeah. So first thing you want to do is get this quoted out. So for us, do you have a account number?
Yeah, four
We'll do this.
zeros, 17. Oh, or 18, doesn't matter.
So we'll go ahead and quote the hardware. Delivery method. This is to you, correct? Yes, this is to
Hmm.
the customer
Correct.
how you want this all delivered, whether you want this UPS to yourself or you want to pick this up at will call. So for us, I like picking up at will call. So we'll go ahead and do this. Yancey underscore Salinas
Yep.
at Sierra Lawrence. Test class. All right. Looks like we have pretty much everything ready to go. Let's go with the hardware.
Yep.
It's pretty quick too. It doesn't take too long.
It may give us an issue because I think what on the user details it was blank. So it didn't, oh, there it is. Never mind. It was too intuitive for me.
Hey, right, let's place it, Yancy. Now that we're good to go, right?
Go for it. Go for it.
All right, awesome. How do we want this charged? We'll charge it COD. And we should be good. Let's place the order. So now that we have it, yes, I know it's over $5,000 because we ordered for 4 elevations, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so so yeah, that's just to protect you, the end user, right?
Also keep in mind that all of the specific subscriptions are tied to your CRL account number. So any discounts, any pricing, specific pricing on your account will also be displayed and or will reflect within the pricing within the tool. So I know Christian, you asked this question in reference to how you can see the pricing. That is typically how you can see the pricing when you're requesting a quote. You have to request a quote before anything. Julio, can you hear me?
Any this Yes, I can hear you. Yeah,
Oh,
and the
okay.
system will automatically give you your pricing based on your specific discount code, right? So you can see right here on the right-hand side how all of this now has a price after we quoted it out, right? We got the quote, and the system automatically does it for you. But like Yancy said, all of our pricing was already set in place, including our discount code and total price as well at the end of our of once we were done with this. So we have now placed the
Mhm.
order and we are good to go. And you'll see that also. So let me just hide all these details. And you'll see that how it automatically kicked it out and was sent over to review. Just double check, right? We're going to do this. We're going to go ahead and review this, and then kick it out as an order within the next like hour or two. But in this case, yeah, he's going to cancel
Yeah.
this order because we don't need this much material.
hmm
But
hmm
that is the gist of it.
Do you want to show them how they can go ahead and cancel their own quote as well? Or well, actually, that was that quote. We already placed the order, so that shouldn't be a problem. So, for example, if you see that there's a you've already quoted it or received the pricing, and you see that there's a line item that you're like, I needed to take that one out. What you can go ahead and do, you can go to quote and order, and then under hardware, just click on the line item that you wanted to cancel, and it's going to give you a pop out and you can just say not see you see how it says include on orders, then you would just click on that little round button there and just move it over and it's going to remove it from your order. So it'll leave it on your design but not on your order. Okay, and typically that will kind of cancel out the current quote that you have, and then just they'll cancel out the current quote and then you would have to requote it with that line item also removed. So just FYI. Okay.
Awesome.
And typically, because we had that alert that it's over 5,000 because it's multiple elevations, typically that it will send you an email with a confirmation of that order. However, our sales team will just review it because it's over the $5,000 just to confirm everything looks good. And then you'll get a sales order within the program. But that's typically a full journey in creating a project. Now, again, Julio, I'll go ahead and cancel this order out. There's some items because I did see, like for example, with Santiago, he did mention he wasn't seeing any pricing and the logo is a little bit doesn't he doesn't see the same logo that we see. Yes, typically when you are a new subscriber, there's a lot of setting up that you have to do on your specific site. Of course, changing that logo is one of them. So you can also do that as well on the top left-hand corner. Julio, do you mind clicking on the top left-hand corner, the sandwich menu?
Absolutely.
So that sandwich menu is typically where you would find that capability. As you can see, Julio doesn't have an option to go ahead and change the site. Why? Because not everyone within the sites or not all the seats for that site will have that capability to do that. Only the site admin, which would typically be seat 01, has the capability to change that or to make changes within your specific Glass Entrances site. So on the sandwich menu, you would click on, and again, I know it's not there. So you would go under maintain, and then you would scroll down to site. And that's where you would, add your email address for your company, the physical address for your company, and you can also upload your logo. Once you click on upload, it's going to go to your files and allow you to select the file where you have your logo saved. And then moving forward after that, every quote you create or every material you create will show your company logo for a more personalized look. Okay. Again, if there's any additional setting up questions that you may have, please feel free to reach out. My email, I've added my email there so that you can reach out. I can schedule maybe a one-on-one so we can go through those steps if you need me to support. I can go ahead and do that. But again, it's a very intuitive tool. Something also that I did wanted to highlight is please keep in mind that all the functionalities with the tool, because the tool is so intuitive, because it also meets all of the specifications for our software. So again, if you're designing something and you have like similar to what Julio did, he changed it from a quarter, I think it was from 1/8 to a half or a quarter or something of that sort. So when he changed it, it did give him that alert. So it gives them the alert because again, it didn't meet the specifications to our hardware. So that doesn't mean you can't do it. Yes, you can, but it's going to alert you that you made this change. Okay. There's a lot of other capabilities that the tool has. There's definitely room for improvement, but honestly, this is one of the best out in the market when it comes to Glass Entrances and Partitions. And just moving forward, just kind of a little bit of a teaser, we are working on adding more systems to Glass Entrances. We're also working on converting the rest of our programs into a web version, just because as you can see, I don't know if we have any Citrix users in this group, but the look and feel is completely different. It is a lot more user friendly. It is also a lot more appealing to the eye. You can also play your animations on here for your customer. If you are designing something on site, you can play that automation there. We also have something that's called a online quote, which typically it also gives the customer the same experience that you would have for their project. They can go ahead and play the animation. They can go ahead and pull and drag and drop the image to see it from every single angle. So that it's a completely new, different feel also for the customers. That one. And you can just copy the link and send it over, or you can download it by clicking the download button. And again, the customers will have that same interactive view that you have also within the program. Okay. So
Yeah,
very cool.
let's just show them since we have a couple minutes, Yancy.
Yep,
Seeing that
of
interactive
course.
view, you can look at all your panel sizing also, right? And even play the animation, including opening the door.
Hmm. Hmm.
You can hide the
Yep,
dimensions if you want to. If you want to just take a look at your drawing, at what it looks like, you can show the dimensions for each opening and you can close it.
yep,
And it doesn't break down. This is perfect for sending it over to their customer, right? It just gives them the
yep,
price on the
exactly.
quote, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Correct,
so they can go ahead and
correct.
send that over to them and they don't see the breakdown of the hardware.
No. The breakdown of the hardware would be more on the hardware list, and that's where you go line item by line item that it provides the pricing for to the hardware. Also keep in mind that when you are sending your customer your quote directly, they will not see our pricing to you. they will see your pricing. So for example, if you want to go ahead and add a markup on there, that's what they're going to see. Our pricing plus whatever markup you've enabled within the program. So another thing is, if you want to have a full quote, you can add the markup for your glass also in the program, and then you can also add the markup for hardware. And that you will also see on the sandwich menu. And again, you would have to be the site admin in order for you to change that in the program under estimate default values. So again, just a couple little tricks here and there just to let you know where some things are at. But again, because we're short on, we're out of time already, please feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions. There is a survey at the end of this webinar. Please, please, please share your feedback. One of the questions is, are you ready to subscribe? So if you're ready to subscribe, let me know and I'll reach out to you. Okay, with that, thank you, thank you, thank you, Julio. Thank you so much. You are a world of knowledge. So thank you so much. I learned a lot in reference to door rail system that I didn't know. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for taking us through this journey, and thank you all for being here today. And hopefully we'll hear from you soon. Waiting to subscribe. Have a good one.
Thanks, Yancy. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Bye.